There it is. And I'm going to just chuck that right there. All right. So I'm going to actually use the calculator to figure out the regression equation and the correlation coefficient right away. And just so I have the stored value in for R, because again, I don't want to recompute. So stat calc option 8. All right, you may be more familiar with stat calc 4 from previous classes, but 8 is the one that you want in order to keep it consistent with the notation that would be on pretty much any assessment. It's in the form of a plus bx. Right? I think that's a more reasonable form of a linear function anyway. It's just you learn it as y equals mx plus b, slope, and then the y-intercept. But anytime you create a graph, first thing you plot is the y-intercept, and then you go from there. Right? So why wouldn't you account for the y-intercept first? All right, so stat calc 8 is really where we want to be. L1, L2. And then calculate. And it gives you everything you need, including the R value, all right, which is about, again, 0.926. All right, but the benefit of doing it this way is that when I use my vars option 5, I can go into the statistics menu. Now, sometimes you got to kind of hunt around for it, but if you look enough, you'll find the list that contains the R value. All right. So in the EQ on mine, I don't know if it's the same on yours, but it would be one of the menus there would contain all the coefficients for regression equations, and you'll see here that it gives you not only the equation, but actually I don't know on yours if it gives the equation, but it gives you the A, B, C, D, and E values. You'd be like, C, D, and E, what does that mean? Because it's treating everything like a fifth degree polynomial, right, in terms of the coefficients. So it's saying that the C, D, and E all zeroed out, right, getting rid of those terms, right? So we're just starting off with the last two terms of a polynomial, all right? But anyway, the R is what I want out of this, so that when I'm in my home screen, so why is that not clear on this? Well, it clears on yours, but
Again, mine's not showing R.
It doesn't show R?
No, mine does not show.
All right, so go into mode, scroll down until you see the option that says stat diagnostics, and hit enter on.
Mine shows the R.
Oh, then you're good.
Alright, yeah, it displays the R now.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not a default setting.
Should stat wizards be on or off? Right now it's set to on.
Wizards, you want that on,
Okay.
so that it always gives you the menu look.
Okay.
All right, so now when I call up R, it brings up the true R value. All right, so yeah. Well, anyway, S, Y, and SX, we want to compute that also. Again, we did that yesterday, or the day before, I forget. But that's stat calc option 2. It's kind of weird. I mean, there's so many things that we have to do on the calculator anyway, but then we still have to use this formula. It's really just the people who created the AP curriculum. They want to have their cake and eat it too, because they're basically saying you could use the technology as a supporting tool, but you can't use it for everything. But then you find yourself doing pretty much everything anyway with the calculator, and it's only like the last step that you're doing, I'm sorry, the first step that you're doing by hand. Everything else is just computation. All right, so calculate, you have your SX, you have your SY, and so we could figure out the B value. And again, I'm not doing this by writing all these values down and then typing them in, with rounded forms. I'm literally just going to tell my calculator to compute R times SY over SX. Right, so that seems like a complete waste of time, but when you think about what that means in the calculator,
Is R in the variables?
yeah. So you go to vars, statistics, and then the equation menu, you'll see that their option there for R is, well, just R. And then multiply that by SY over SX, also in the vars menu, statistics, SY over SX.
Wait, so R is also in the statistics menu.
Yeah,
I mean, it comes up undefined.
undefined. That's, well, yeah.
I got that.
Let me just check something.
You know, Sam, look on the board. Syntax error means you did something wrong.
Bang. Actually, no, this is error undefined. That's not.
Oh, okay, so then you're good. So you did the linear regression, you did stack calc 8,
Yeah.
so now you have an R value in there.
Mm-hmm.
You did two var stats,
Yeah. I did.
L1, L2.
Did everything you did.
Okay.
I used random value. Oh, I see. Point 0916.
Now I got it.
Now you got it? Okay.
Now that's what I'm going wrong. Got it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to store this in as B. So alpha, and then just find B and hit enter. This way, when I run my next computation, I'm, again, literally just using the exact formula because we've already run these calculations. All right, so this next computation is just going to, again, vars, statistics. We want y bar minus the b value we just stored times the x value. X bar, sorry. It doesn't give me much of a frame. So anyway, you get the 1.307 approximately. All right, so the equation of the regression line, y hat, I know, is equal to 0.0916 plus 1.307 x. All right, the y hat is a predicted y.
Didn't we just say that A is the intercept though?
Yeah.
Did I do it? Oh, sorry. Classic Bob. Ay, ay, ay. Gotta love it. Anyway, so all of these computations, so let me just do that right now, are going to happen behind the scenes. So you'd be like, oh, all right, there's not really much I'm going to have to write down on paper aside from the answer, right? But it's the multiple choice questions that are gonna get you, if anything's gonna get you in this unit, right? Because you might look at this and say, well, I could have just did stat calc 8 and got this answered straight away. But again, what they're gonna do on the AP, and so therefore what I'm gonna do on the test, is say the mean and standard deviation of this data set are this, and that data set are that and that. All right, the slope and y-intercept of the regression equation is this. Tell me what the correlation coefficient is. All right, so I won't actually give you the data set, but I'll give you information about the data set. So you'll have to use these formulas, or at least this formula, and kind of reverse engineer. I mean, really what you're looking at is a system of equations with multiple variables. So if you have enough information, you can find pretty much everything you're looking for. All right, so, but that's the twist on it. So you don't want to go to sleep on this concept, because if you do, then you look at some of the questions on a test and you'll have no idea how to do it, because what people have done in the past is say, yeah, and then they come across a problem on the test where a data set is not given to them for them to type in their calculator, and they have no idea what to do.
But you have these equations on the sheet.
You have these equations on the sheet, yeah, so there's no need to worry about memorizing them. It's just a matter of knowing how to use them. Really, the only thing I would say that you're memorizing in this course, aside, last unit was the exception because there's a lot of vocabulary, but moving forward is really calculator steps. Because folks who struggle with this, they do because they can't remember where to get the SX, the X bar and stuff like that. If you're ever in doubt, if you can't remember during a test, just go into the catalog. Everything's there. You just got to hunt around for it. It's all alphabetical, right? So second, 0, and then you just start scrolling. For a long time. You know, until you find the thing that you're looking for. You know, so, but you'll eventually find the thing that you're looking for.
What are the buttons for that?
Second, 0. So every function that's in your calculator is stored in this catalog. So it's just a matter of, just,
There's 1 there and 2 there statistics.
yeah. It's just patience at that point.